What up?
What's going on? What's going on, YouTube fam? What's going on, cinema
How
stands?
y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Shoguns of cinema. What's the word, Bobo? How you doing today?
I'll tell you what the word is. I'm ready to get involved with this. Who's the master?
That's right. Welcome to another edition of Who's the Master. You can catch us on this channel. We're gonna make this a regular thing around this time. We're gonna do Derpy. Yeah, of course, bro.
Dude, you're loyal. We
Basically
love
the
you.
third guest here, right? You're basically the third part of this podcast.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so listen, guys, this is going to be a regular thing around this time on Mondays and Wednesdays. That's 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. You can, of course, catch us at the following. There you go, Bob. Put that banner up.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
we're learning.
I'm trying to get
Yeah.
better.
Man, we got a lot to talk about, guys. It seems like news be popping, yo.
Dude, it is definitely be popping.
Doesn't sleep.
I love that about movie news because even if it's not just something out in the forefront, like something tragic, you can just start digging and find some dirt. You know, you can just start finding everything. And at first, when I started looking today, I was like, man, not really seeing much. And then I stumbled on a couple of gems where I was like, I can't turn away from this. So, and then of course, if you looked at the thumbnail, one of the main things we'll be talking about is Avatar because the reviews are starting to come in as far, not like full on breakdown reviews,
Reactions.
but reactions.
In, right? Reactions are coming in for Avatar like they'd be coming in on another Kanye West rant. You know? This podcast though. Just FYI, we love Jewish people on this podcast.
Definitely. I'm not a yay supporter at all.
We hate Nazis on this podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Just throw it out there.
I used to have all kinds of like anti stuff in the background for, hatred and bigotry and all that. But then, I was like, you know what? I need to just put all my movie stuff up.
Yeah. You guys get enough Kanye talk, I'm sure, on other channels. So we'll keep it strictly movie reviews. And like Bobo alluded to, big news on the horizon. Pocahontas 2. We're getting first reactions of Pocahontas 2. Man, I never thought there'd be a sequel to the first Pocahontas, but I guess there is.
Man, okay, listen. Straight up, are you starting off just arguing about this movie? Do you not like the first one?
What are you talking about? Pocahontas was a great movie.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. Sorry. I had to get off my high horse there. You see, I lowered myself.
Yeah, nice. Oh, sorry, I meant Avatar. It's the same movie. Sorry, man, I get confused.
What's funny is that's what Derpy's saying right here. He's like, Avatar 2, generic, similar plot.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a statement question or an actual question. But
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a rhetorical question.
Right. So I think that first off,
you want me to read some of these reviews from Variety?
Sure. Let's do it. Read some of them and I'll start tossing some picks up.
All right. So Fandango's Eric Davis. I don't know Eric Davis. He sounds like he's a cuck, but he may be a nice guy.
Just typical cuck name.
Sorry, hey Eric, if you're a nice guy, my bad. But if you're a cuck, not my bad. Happy to say, Avatar: The Way of the Water is phenomenal. Bigger, better, and more emotional than Avatar. That's like really not saying a lot. That's not a high bar. The film is visually breathtaking, visceral, and incredibly engrossing. The story, the spectacle, the spirituality, the beauty. This is movie making and storytelling at its absolute finest. All right, whatever. Sure thing. He sounds like he sounds like the guy that wants to
get paid to say that.
He wants to wear an ascot, have a pipe, and pretend he's cultured. Let's see if we can find something that's a little bit more down to earth and not so full of itself. I had faith James Cameron would raise the bar with effects, but these visuals are mind-blowing. Collider's Pierre Nemiroff added. Pierre Nemiroff, it looks like. One stunning frame after the next, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not really seeing anything that's really... seems like it's way out of pocket, and it's all surprisingly positive. Bobo, what were your takeaways from these early reactions?
Relief, because first and foremost, I mean, I think it is the most expensive movie ever made now, right?
Yeah, it better be.
Well, they're saying that it needs like $2 billion to actually turn a profit. So I mean, that's a big, tall order right there from Cameron. He's just like, it needs $2 billion. That was from his mouth. Yeah. But look, I personally, me with movies though. While you and I respect each other's opinions on movies 100%, you go in with a little bit um, more of a gavel than I do. You know, I,
Guys, sarcasm is
I'm a little more of a laid back movie watcher. I'll admit it. I have a video on the channel that's saying it's okay to like crappy movies. So I'm not going to sit here and say that everything I like you should be liking because it's phenomenal. I understand why people can be critical and judgmental. I'm just not that type of dude in general on certain things. I am to an extent, but for me, there was a lot of criticism to the original movie, and there's a lot of already pre-hate to this second one. Like, oh, what are you gonna do? And it's like, you guys forget that this is the most profitable movie of all time. So, I mean, there's something there.
All right, let's be clear on this. Okay, so I didn't hate the first one. Here, you know what? I want you to throw up Derpy's last comment because this is what I'm guarding against. No, the one right above that one. That sounded like the easiest 500K they made ever on that first reaction. So that's what we're dealing with. A lot of reactions now, right? Is people get paid, people get benefits for positive reactions. And so I'm automatically going to be a little bit cynical. That's why you guys watch us, because we don't do that because we haven't got those offers. Now, when we get those offers, we'll sell out, right? But until then,
the movie is still in its
I'm not
marketing
gonna lie,
phase.
I can use extra 500K in my pocket, Derpy.
Hell
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, bro?
Hell yeah. But I agree with you. The movie's in its marketing phase. So
Yeah.
they're going to, if there's somebody out there that's saying something negative about it, they're going to spend the money to shut that person down and be like, hey, would you actually retract that and say this? And here's some money.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, they're going to make sure that this movie has positive press before it comes out.
But on the heels of that first review, with all the comments about stunning visuals and all the cuckassery, yeah, that's what I thought when I watched the first film. Like, if I watched that, when I watched that in theaters with 3D, with that real 3D experience that we'd never gotten before, I was blown away. I thought it was amazing. I went back and watched it again with my family. Thought it was amazing. Then I watched it on TV and I realized, oh, this movie blows. This movie is not good. This is Pocahontas. It's amazing visual. And there is a clear divide, people. Go ask people what they think about Avatar. If they tell you that it sucked, ask them if they watched it in theaters. And 9 times out of 10, the answer will be no, I saw it on TV.
I don't think the movie sucks on Blu-ray or on the TV. I do think that if it's the first time that you saw it that way, it would just seem like another visual-based CG movie. It was intended to be a theater experience, hence why you can't even see this new one in 2D. You know what I mean? It's a strictly 3D experience because that's how the first one was intended to be as well. I do agree with you on that. I don't think it's a trash movie outside of the 3D aspect, but I do think that part of the grandeur of it was that experience. You know what I mean? That theater experience.
Well, also he can sell higher tickets prices when it's not in 2D, but he needs it, right? As opposed to as in regards to your first statement, he definitely needs those higher ticket prices. That'll help him make back some of those margins.
Yeah, dude, it's like $18 or something, I think.
Yeah, but let me tell you how much he didn't care about plot when creating that movie. What is the material that they're after? What's it called? What's a MacGuffin? What's the MacGuffin material that they're trying to mine from that planet? What's the name of it?
Oh, unobtainium. Which is funny.
No,
I
that
will
is
say.
some lazy writing right there.
I will say.
I don't care. Just call it unobtainium.
They should have called it arbitrarium.
Yeah, they call it anything else but unobtainium.
Look, I will agree with that. That's a little silly. That's a little silly.
Come on, man.
But that's not a deal breaker for the movie for me.
No, he knew that he's like, the people are writing a script like, hey, James, we're really working on the script. We need some help. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about, script? This is a 3D movie. I'm spending hundreds of millions of dollars on the visuals. We don't need your goddamn script. And the script writers are like, okay, well, we'll just take a dump on this and throw it out there.
So because of the first movie, when it was coming out, the last things that I'd seen film-wise from James Cameron was Titanic, which is my least favorite movie of his just because of the content. But up until then, he was doing a lot of IMAX stuff. And he was doing a lot of like under the sea voyage type stuff and this like documentary style filmmaking, educational type stuff with awesome cameras. But what he was doing was he was using that time to sort of develop this new camera tech that he could start doing new cool things with. I didn't really realize that. And so when Avatar first came out, I was expecting to sort of see like an IMAX educational type movie a little bit. Yeah, with a little plot. So I was expecting so little plot that I was actually pleased with the amount of plot that we got in the first movie. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. So, what I need to ask you.
Derby says he should have called it vibranium.
That's a good one. So obviously, you're right about. I forgot about the James Cameron, underwater documentaries. Kind of like I was about to say, kind of like you forgot about the banner. Damn it! I
Oh.
got too late.
I'm trying to switch back as quick as possible.
Yeah, it's just a little running joke between us. But yeah, no. So he does love water, huh? Him and M. Night Shyamalan.
Well, the original title, the news article when it first came out that James Cameron was going to be doing this Avatar 2, it says Avatar 2, The Abyss. Which I love that movie, by the way. I do.
It's good. It's a classic. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to watch this movie, and I'm going to be excited. I may watch it and be blown away by the visuals again. I'm just not expecting a great plot. And that's fine. You can have different expectations for movies, right?
They have a family now.
I can't believe this homeboy got a job again. What's the last thing he did since the first Avatar?
No, he's done plenty of stuff. He just didn't become the blow up star that they wanted him to. One of the recent things that he did was on Hulu was a series that had Andrew Garfield on it called Under the Banner of Heaven. It was really good. It's about like a true story based out on like this Mormon family that killed one of their wives, but Sam Worthington plays kind of like, I don't want to give anything away, spoiler alert. So if you're interested in watching it, shut your ears. But he plays like this crazy Mormon brother that is just like out of control. Does a really good job.
Well, so the first time.
You don't like Sam Worthington?
This can be our first poll. What's your favorite Sam Worthington role? Is it Terminator Salvation? Is it Avatar? Or is it Clash of the Titans?
Oh, okay. Look, Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans are both terrible. I'm not going to give those movies any love.
I don't think Louis Leterrier has done anything since those movies. They did Hulk, which was
he's doing. I think he's doing Fast 10.
Well,
I really do. I think he's doing Fast 10. Now, look, what movies were we do? We were sorry, I lost my train of thought. I got started thinking.
Oh, it's Terminator 2 Salvation or Terminator Salvation.
No, the Wrath of the Titans and Clash of Titans. Those movies are bad. Not even going to acknowledge those. But I like Terminator Salvation. I think it gets a bad rap. I don't really understand.
I'm talking about his performance. Which one did he give the best performance? You can say none of the above because that's probably the correct answer.
I'd say Avatar. Well, I don't dislike the guy. I don't think that there's anything wrong with him. I don't think he's awesome, which is why he didn't become the star they thought he was going to become. I mean, would he have been anything without Avatar? The production of Avatar. You know what I'm saying?
Clash did some money, if I remember correctly. It was just so bad, especially if you watch the first Clash of the Titans as a kid. We watched that at school.
Oh yeah, dude.
I think a lot of people trash on that movie that were older when they watched it, but for us, it was awesome.
Well, and at the time, that stop motion and everything, and I think Ray Harryhausen was still in control of like stop motion at that time. He was like the god of stop motion. Yeah, I mean that stop motion for me, and maybe it's because of my part of my nostalgia. It still holds up. Like I can still watch it and enjoy it.
Guys, we're thinking about doing a video essay series. Should we do a video essay on Sam Worthington's Clash of the Titans?
Would you include Wrath?
No, I can't watch both those movies. That's like some shit you use to torture terrorists with.
Right.
More people anymore. You make them watch Clash and Wrath back to back. You be getting all the secrets. You be finding out where all the terrorists live.
That's what they're going to do in the next Saw movie. One of the traps is going to be TV's on. It's going
watch these 4 Sam Worthington performances.
Watch these 4. Can you handle Sam Worthington?
Shoots himself in the face before the second one begins. Yeah, like listen, we probably got to do one because that movie's so bad.
Yeah, I was extremely disappointed with it. And was I really even excited about it? Because as soon as you're watching the trailer, I mean, you can tell it's a CG fest and not a good CG fest. So, I mean, part of what works about that original one was the way
we were coming off 300 though. Remember that era?
True, with the flashy. Yeah. But see, Snyder did it in a way there that it just worked. And he was also pulling from a comic book that was illustrated that way. You know what I mean? So that's part of that's like Sin City. You know, if anybody else tried to do a movie that looked like that, you'd be like, what are you doing? You're making Sin City, you know, like that was the way the comic looked. But for
Yo, watching 300 now though is wild. Now that we know how much of a Trumper Frank Miller is, you know, like because a lot of people, a lot of my personal friends were pissed at that movie, and I didn't really get it at the time. I was like, it's you know, it's like there's the enemies of comic books. Don't take it personally. It's just artistic license. But now that he's had some comments come out, it does make you think when you go back and watch that movie.
so let me just ask you this about Trumper.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that not Trump, but him supporting the other guy, you think he's actually fully sane now?
I don't know, man. A lot of our icons are losing their goddamn minds.
Yeah, dude. Like, I think that some of these people, like Frank,
it's not about the politics. You support Trump, you support Trump. I'm sure you have your reasons.
But
It's just like when the rationale is crazy. You can tell when the rationale is crazy about some things, whether it be Democrats or Republicans or whatever. And he's just one of those guys, you know.
we're talking about the same guy who like slightly would bash on the Reagan administration, you know, and he's bashed on Nixon. So that's what I'm saying. Do you think that Miller is maybe kind of gone senile? Has he maybe lost his mind a little bit? You know,
Maybe. I mean, you could say the same thing about Alan Moore, right?
Alan Moore's
he's on the opposite side of the spectrum. And
but he's always been crazy, though. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's ever said, "Oh, good old sane Alan Moore."
Yeah. That's why I thought it was hilarious when Geeks and Gamers and all those channels were pissed off at the Watchmen HBO series. They're like, that's not my Watchmen. It's just woke. I'm like, listen, you want to talk about woke? Alan Moore has been woke since 1945, and he's
since he came out of the womb.
He's the extreme opposite side of woke. Like, if you like to make money, you're a fascist capitalist pig, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's taken a bath or shaved or cut his hair in the past 40 years.
Yeah.
Real quick, that's a side note. What did you think of Watchmen, the HBO show?
Loved it.
Yeah, I liked it.
That's the best take on Alan Moore property yet.
No, that was really cool. What I like about that show is it was, and I don't know if I'm saying this the right way, but I think you'll understand what I'm saying. It was kind of like a narrative within a narrative, like, you know, the whole idea of who watches the Watchmen. Mm-hmm. And if you've read the original source material, not just watched the movie, you get a better idea of what that theme is. And I honestly haven't read anything outside of that, any of the continuation stuff they did where they kind of tried to merge the DC characters with Watchmen. I never read any of that, but
yeah,
I felt like that. Was it Damon Lindelof that did? No, who was it? Yeah.
Damon Lindelof. It was.
I felt like that he understood the concept of the story, not just what the characters were. Like, he got the characters, but I'm saying no matter what characters were in it, he understood under the layer of what this story is, the other bottom layer, if that makes any sense.
Going back and reading Watchmen's fascinating now because we have this obsession with ourselves via Instagram. And that's what the original story is all about. When that hero vigilante culture starts out, it's a bunch of people taking advantage of a movement to become famous, right? It really takes it. The first person that did it, Hooded Justice, did it for the right reasons. Everybody else just tried to capitalize on it. And that's kind of like it's kind of come true, right? It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. And that's what our culture is like now with social media, right? We all want to be seen and heard, like us doing this podcast. So we're not any better people, right?
No, not at all.
But yeah, man.
Anyways, I just was curious as what you thought about it.
Yeah, like he really understood the characters in a way that a lot of people don't. A lot of people, including myself, forgot that Rorschach was blatantly portrayed as racist in the original Watchmen. You know, he doesn't actually say anything racist, but that newspaper he reads has a lot of racist imagery in it, like horrible racist imagery that I'm not going to repeat on this podcast because we don't want to get demonetized, right? So, like, yeah, I mean, he just understood those characters on various layers that when most of us read it when we were kids, we were just looking at a superhero comic that was different, but it was still hard for us to get past the superhero lens. But he saw all the commentary that Alan Moore was going after. And I think it's a shame that he'll never watch it. Alan Moore will never watch that show.
I think that he's thinking it's like going to be what Zack Snyder did, which, by the way, for a 2.5 hour movie, that was about the best job that anybody could have done translating that 12-issue miniseries.
Still trash.
You still think it's trash?
It's still trash. Like, I enjoyed it at the time, but when you go back and rewatch it, he's so obviously turned it into a superhero movie.
No, it is.
So I liked it until I watched, honestly, the HBO series. And I'm like, oh, this is what Watchmen was about. It was about He
Now,
turned
look, the comedian stuff he handles well. The comedian stuff is kind of what it should have like to me. What the way they portrayed the comedian is the way I saw him in the comics. But also, I'm going to bring something to light too. And man, we're really getting off on a Watchmen thing here. But
hey, it's a
you,
podcast.
you said something about the way we as kids we were reading it through the superhero lens, and it was kind of hard to get past that. Even we still enjoyed it because we were seeing them. It still was a comic book, you know what I mean? And they still had capes on, but I had read that before I went through like true high school adolescence time. And I wasn't supposed to read it. Even it was kind of one of those things that like even the guys at the comic shop were like, "You sure you want to be buying this?"
Yeah.
But then I read it afterwards as an adult, and it's like it was like reading it all over again.
You got to read that. You can read that story multiple times before you catch everything that's in it, right?
It's really deep and rich.
Peter Alexander, HBO had it right in his view. You're right, Peter. I agree with you on that. HBO 100% did the property justice and what it's supposed to be about. Alan Moore is not about superheroes, you know.
No, and in fact, most of his content that he ever writes,
he's about social commentary.
No, you're right. He is, and most of the stuff he ever writes doesn't really have stuff to do with superheroes. That was just one little avenue he took. You know, I remember when there was sort of a whole thing with non-comic book writers writing comic books for a little while.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was started by the atrocious Kevin Smith.
Nah, I'd say Gaiman was
actually.
Gaiman was doing it before.
Yeah, I forget Gaiman because I knew Gaiman first as a comic book writer, but I forget that he was an actual writer previous to that. Also, what's his face? So you remember the OC? That show was hot for a minute when you and I
do remember the show. I don't.
We were in our 20s.
I don't remember the creator.
That writer wrote Young Avengers. He's the one that created that concept and wrote the original concept with Kate Bishop and all that.
Who is what's his name?
I don't remember, man. It was like 2004, 2005, like somewhere around there. But yeah, did I say, yeah, so he's the writer on the OC, a head writer on the OC, and he created that property. And he only wrote like 4 or 5 issues, and then Joss Whedon, who's another person that's now been disgraced.
Yeah, dude, hardcore, like just completely like, yeah, get out of here.
Joss Whedon had some great comic book runs, man. His X-Men run was fantastic.
Astonishing X-Men was awesome, dude.
Yeah,
the whole plot, everything about it, I love. The art was beautiful. Obviously, I know he didn't do the art, but him and it was Cassaday, right?
I think so, yeah.
John Cassaday. But no, I look, there's a lot of Whedon stuff that's great. I mean, yes, the Avengers movie, Age of Ultron holds up better than the first one does. And originally, I remember not liking Age of Ultron as much as the first one. The first one, some of the suits and the effects start to feel a little dated, but he did bring us those. And when they did come out, we loved the shit out of them, you know? So, hey, say what you will about what he's done. I still like the things in the past that he's done. You know, nobody's going to hire him now, and I wouldn't either. Look, he says he still loves the Whedon.
Still love the Whedon, yeah. Not if you were female and work for him. Dude, those stories are hard to sit through, like, especially with some, even like the child female actors. What's that young girl in Buffy? They had to be like, all right, listen, you cannot be alone with her because you were that verbally abusive. Like, the producers had to come down and basically separate them like they're children. And she was a little kid.
How did that stay hidden for so long?
Huh?
How did that stay hidden for so long?
Charisma Carpenter talked about it for a long time. Nobody paid attention to her until Ray Fisher had a problem with him on Justice League.
And then everybody else decided to come out.
It's kind of like Bill Cosby got away with rape until Hannibal Buress decided to do a bit on it.
Make a joke of it.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because, yeah, I mean, everybody, including Sarah Michelle Gellar herself, has come out. So
yes, yeah, she does not, pull any punches. She's like, listen, I'm proud to be Buffy, but I'm not proud to be Joss Whedon's Buffy, essentially is what she said. We got some comments coming in hot and heavy.
Yeah,
Andrew Worley, you're making a comment.
Yeah, look at this. He says, we mentioned M. Night a few podcasts ago. He says, think Unbreakable was ahead of its time. Done now, I think more viewers would love it. Speaking of comic books and writers, etc. I definitely, that and Sixth Sense are my 2 favorite M. Night movies for sure. Maybe, well, now it's hard to say because I do like Split and The Visit as well. But, you know, other than that, his movies, we've talked about it. He's hit or miss with me. But
yeah, I was just about M. Night the other day when I was doing my laundry because he's also washed. You know what I'm saying?
I love it, man. I need to get that. Yo, ta-da.
Yeah, listen, I want M Night to succeed, being a fellow Indian Desi, but man, he got to quit all the twist ending stuff.
I'll go see all of his movies because he still keeps it. He still puts out a good one every now and then. But I mean, it's all about that twist if it just makes or break it. And I do wish he wouldn't rely on the twist so much.
Yeah,
You can have a little twist like you did at the end of Split when all of a sudden you see David Dunn at the very end. You're like, oh, snap. And the movie's over. That's cool. But to have like a grandiose moment to where it's like, but you never knew. It's like, dude, the twist in Glass was terrible. I mean, it was such a bad movie, and the way he got
I didn't
killed.
watch that movie in theaters. Like I knew it was going to be trash. I was pleasantly
I
surprised.
got suckered in. I got suckered in because
I knew
I
that guy
love
could do two
Unbreakable.
movies in a row.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I should have known better. I should have looked at just the simple math.
Yo, unpopular opinion. I was bored out of my mind with Sixth Sense until the end.
Really?
I remember being so bored, and then the end happened. I was like, "This is the greatest movie ever!" Oh my god, it surprised me. It subverted my expectations. I loved it after that. But when I really go back and think about it, like prior to that ending, I was like, "This is so boring," because I thought I was watching a horror movie. Or that's why I went in thinking, right, it was going to be a horror movie, and it's just about this kid who can see dead people and talk to Bruce Willis.
Well, I mean, I honestly thought it was well done the whole time, and then for me, the whole twist was a bonus. Like, so I don't know. And again, Unbreakable, the same thing. But I was also loving this whole nod to comic book fans. But yeah, no, to
Yeah,
me, it's
no, Andrew, you're right. Andrew's put a comment. He was referring to Unbreakable as a comic book movie. You're right. It's like one of the first good comic book movies, but it wouldn't hold up now because now we have actual comic book movies that are good.
well, yeah, and this is more like of what if there was somebody that was like just a little extra, not somebody that could lift buildings and throw trains across the yard. You know what I mean? Like this was just this dude. It's like, oh, he can actually get hit with an aluminum bat and be okay. Oh, he can lift a lot of weights. Oh, he doesn't get sick. But yeah, he wasn't flying around and like I said, lifting up buildings out of the ground like Superman. So I like that sort of whole grounded idea on it.
Mhm.
And if it would have come out today, I'm not so sure that it would have done well. I think it did well back in the day because comic book movies weren't coming out.
Yo, Peter put up a comment. Stay hidden because of money when he's talking about Joss Whedon. Yo, man, internet's changed the game. NDAs don't mean a damn thing now. You know,
Yeah.
remember when NDAs used to mean something, guys?
Yes.
You could have random relations with a woman and just make her sign an NDA and know she wouldn't talk about it. That shit's over.
Hell yeah. No, it is definitely in a very different world. I got to get to these comments as they're coming in.
Yeah.
Peter says Sixth Sense, one of the faves of all time. Then you have Signs, worst movie ever.
Yeah. Have you guys heard that? There's a Reddit theory on the actual ending of Signs and saying the movie is actually about demons, and the reason the ancient technology they find is not water. The water was actually blessed by the mother.
So it was holy water.
Yeah, so it was all holy water, and the ancient technology they find is actually like some sort of religion or whatever to fight off the alien invaders, which are actually demons. That ending would make the movie so much better. I don't know if it's real or not, and I think the Redditor put it as a theory, so it's not.
Yeah, it's a theory because I mean they definitely you got the whole thing getting the kids sick constantly, and if it was a demon, it would be much more like possession. I feel like you know what I mean.
It works. It still works for the movie, but
I don't think that that's what he was saying. I think with the signs and all that, I think the corn, the crop shit, like I just think that he was trying to make you think aliens. I personally didn't like the whole idea that water could hurt them, but they're on a fucking cornfield where there's dew in the
at
morning.
night, of course, it's gonna be water. The guy's obsessed with water.
Look.
Man, listen, I don't know if he doesn't get enough hydration. You know, maybe
Okay,
he drinks soda, but he
look,
loves water.
War of the Worlds, the water was like an infection if they ingested it. But in Signs, if they touch it, it starts burning them. And I was like, but what about that roof he's standing on at 3 a.m. in the morning out in this place where there would definitely be dew on that roof?
Yo, fam, what about flying to a planet that you can see from space is almost entirely made of water?
Classic.
You don't think they look at
There comes that ontologic right there.
We won't stop off here. It's like when you were about to stop off at a gas station when you needed a bathroom and you look at that gas station, you're like, I know that bathroom ain't gonna be clean.
No.
We're going to the next bathroom. We're
Yeah.
going to check stop, damn it. That place has got the best bathrooms.
maybe they thought it was all just like a pretty blue ground, like a blue colored ground.
Yeah, some dumbass aliens that can invent
Yeah, right.
can't figure out what
Well,
water is.
they definitely were dumb. And hey, that's the other point. Just because they're from another planet doesn't mean they're intelligent.
Yeah, Peter Alexander agrees with me on plant composed water. Also, he says a non-disclosure. What's that? If you got laid off and got a severance, you have to sign some non-disclosures because they want to make sure you don't talk bad about them if they're going to pay you a lot of money. That's the only reason I talk good about my previous employer. But yeah,
on a planet composed. Okay, what the hell?
All right. Well, hey, listen, we probably should have kicked off the show with this, right? Moment of silence. They said we're not going to do a moment of silence. We're just saying that for a star that passed us, a star that left us. She was a big star when you and I were growing up in the 80s. She was on sitcoms that were famous. She was in movies. Of course, we're talking about the late, great Christy Alley. And I'm vamp as Bob was obviously searching for the image that he cannot find that he posted.
I thought I had it downloaded and I didn't, but I'll get it up here in a second. But
yeah.
No, keep talking about her though.
So Christy Alley, yeah, man, she was a star back in the 80s. Most people know her for Cheers. If you're my age, you also know her from Look Who's Talking. You also know her from Summer School with Mark Harmon. And Bob and I were discussing her small part in Loverboy, starring Patrick Dempsey. Bob, you could have gotten a picture of her in her prime, man.
Dude, she looks great right there. What are you talking about?
She had some work done here.
I thought I was being complimentary by putting up a picture of how good she looked in her last days there. My bad.
No, I mean, hey, listen, she was a lovely lady even in her last days, but I'm sure.
All right, let me
want people to remember us in our 20s.
Let me find one. Oh, dude, there's some on here you definitely do not want me putting up for sure.
Christy Alley in 1980s. Peter Alexander, so hot. She was hot back in the day.
No,
she was really hot.
She was hot, and look, she was hot even when she had gotten older. It's just there were some moments that maybe her weight had gotten the best ever, but she had made.
On a real note, guys, it's kind of hard to criticize these girls that were famous because that industry is not kind to women when they hit
at all,
and it destroys their confidence, and sometimes you see that in the way their appearance changes.
Well, I think with her, though, I think one of the things that I think everybody could probably honestly say is that she projected more of the strength with women in Hollywood. Yeah. She definitely was not like here we go. Here's a younger picture of her.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, she had, crazy, she has like lioness eyes. You know what I mean?
Listen, that hairstyle was it in the 80s, man.
Oh, dude, I wish it would come back, man. I love that hairstyle. We got some comments right here.
Mm-hmm. Peter, yeah. All right, put the lotion away, Peter.
Yeah, and he's talking about Rebecca from Cheers. Yeah, that was her name. That was her name. And look, she equally took over a spot that was already truly beloved. Like that's hard to do in a sitcom. When someone leaves, that's like a huge part of the show to come in and take over, and actually people really accept you in. She did a good job at that.
Peter Alexander, too late on the lotion. No, man.
Yeah.
Hey, just don't dirty up that keyboard.
It's never too late on the lotion.
Man, Cheers had some stars in it. I guess the biggest one would have been Woody. Even though it took the longest to get his career to that same level that Christy Alley and Ted Danson were at after Cheers, he eventually, I think, went on to be the biggest, right?
He went on to work on, Ted had a movie career for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it was a flash kind of. It was maybe a couple years.
3 Men and a Baby, wasn't he in that?
Say it again.
Wasn't he in 3 Men and a Baby?
3 Men and a Baby and 3 Men and a Little Lady. Yes, and he was also in the movie with Whoopi Goldberg. But again, his thing is Ted Danson's like the king of TV. He's been in a ton of successful TV shows. It's including Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is hilarious, where he plays himself, a fake version of himself.
Taint on tape. Yeah. If you listen to Ticket, you'll know what that is.
Yes. But he's definitely like the king of TV, but Woody truly did go on to do like, the Planet of the Apes movie, he's done Venom, which not a good movie, but still it's big budget, So he's doing AAA-ish type movies now where I don't think Ted ever was there.
Favorite Woody Harrelson movie?
Favorite Woody Harrelson
TV show?
Well, I mean, Cheers is the best season. Well, I don't know. True Detective was pretty badass.
Yeah, I was going to say True Detective, fam. Come on,
man. It's one season. It's more like a long movie. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
so it counts.
True Detective is look. True Detective is one of the greatest TV shows ever made. If you're just counting one specific season, like that is, I couldn't take my eyes off of that show. Every episode, I did not want it to end. It's up there with, again, Breaking Bad being some of the best TV ever. Uh, but True Detective is the shit, dude. And both of them are good in it, but it's really McConaughey that I'm latching onto on that
What about
show.
The Cowboy Way? Was that one of his best roles ever?
Excellent movie. Excellent movie. Him and Kiefer Sutherland. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Sucking on the beer bottles.
Oh, No Country for Old Men. Good call, Peter Alexander.
That
He's
is
kind
a
of a real
great,
supporting actor in that, but still.
but he's still in it. He's still in it. What about Palmetto?
Oh yeah. Peter
Uh,
Alexander, Kirstie Alley, who we were talking about, blew out the other chick, Shelley Long, as a great actress. I couldn't stand Diane.
I have to agree with you. I prefer Rebecca over Diane.
Yeah,
Now, I didn't.
Shelley Long was in that show completely.
I liked the dynamic between Ted and Diane because Diane was such a prude, and he was always bringing out like the sort of like the inner like desire, the inner lust inside of her. But then you had a total switch when Rebecca came on the show because she was like strong, independent, and she was
Mhm.
a little sassy, and she wasn't a prude. And then so she was almost too much to handle for Dan, whereas originally uh, Shelley Long was like not enough to handle for Dan, if that makes any sense.
Also, they did the whole Ross and Rachel thing, only they never paid it off. Not that I remember, right? They didn't pay it off, correct? They just kind of kept it going forever.
Yeah, and I to be honest, I can't remember if the finale has something with them deciding to like kick off a relationship or something, but they was always teased. It was never like Ross and Rachel, they were a thing by season
Yeah, they
two or
were
three,
things several times. Apparently, they were
Yeah,
almost a thing in real life. On that.
yeah. Same thing with Leonard and Penny on Big Bang Theory. I don't know if you knew that for multiple seasons, like they apparently almost got married.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Man,
And it was in the middle of like between like season 2 and 5, I think.
that would have been so interesting if I liked that show.
I love that show.
I know every time I go over to Bob's place, he's playing that show.
No, that's not true. I was just in the
Yeah.
middle of rewatching it the last couple times you've come over.
Yeah.
I finished it though. I already refinished it, so now I'm in the middle
He's
of
watching clips of Sheldon with his lotion, Peter.
Hey, look, it's a guilty pleasure. It's one of those ones I wouldn't recommend to a lot of people, but there's something about it that works for me.
Yeah, listen, we're video essays. Maybe Loverboy should be another one. I don't know if anybody would click on that though, because I don't think anybody remembers that movie. Patrick Dempsey, aka McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy, starred in that.
Yeah.
He's a delivery boy who becomes a gigolo because, of course, that's the career path that we all partake when we go into pizza delivery.
Well, if I knew that I could be successful at it and I actually would be desired, I wouldn't knock that
Oh,
career.
you're desired, Bobo.
Well, I'm just talking about anatomically. So anyways, back to Kirstie though, for real though. Anybody, that's unfortunately she lost it to colon cancer. So way too soon, obviously 71.
Mhm.
While that's a lot older than us, that's still, not, you still should have a lot longer than that. So
True.
rest in peace, Kirstie. Sorry to see you go.
R.I.P. You can hear me, right, Bobo?
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, I just got a notice saying my USB was malfunctioning. But
I heard a like a notification bell, but you sounded fine the whole time.
Okay. So after that, what else we got going on? Silent Night.
Violent Night.
Yeah, you put Silent Night in the text, sorry, but it's Violent Night. Violent Night, which you and I are going to go see here shortly, soon, right? And we're going to do a review at some point. So
yeah, I mean, look, I've been trying
to hit the notification bell and hit the subscription button to be notified when we do drop that, and also go visit us on some of the links on the banner that will be popping up here shortly.
Sorry, I was trying to save some image. Give me a second. I'm gonna put it back up. I promise.
Okay, let's go with the image. Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
No, but there's the banner. There's the banner used. Son of a. Look, I swear I loaded all these up, and it must have like
every time you put up a new image or a comment, it goes down.
No, but I was talking about like there we go, Violent Night. All right, so yes, and then I have
David Harbour from.
Well, actually, look, I wore this on purpose.
Yeah, Stranger Things fame. There you go. And various other things. He was in God Awful Hellboy remake. He was, of course, he was the best part of the Black Widow movie. like
For
hands down
sure,
the best
for
part.
sure. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it was just kind of a mediocre movie, but he was the best part.
It's mid. It's
Yeah,
mid,
for
right?
sure. But I
Really
mean,
mid.
this one, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
This one right here, people are saying, it's like it's it's got the vibes of Die Hard, but more Christmas involved as far as, the action Christmas thing going on, lots of comedy, but people are liking it. It's well received. The biggest thing is it made 20 million its opening weekend. And for a movie like that, that's huge.
Yeah. Listen, if you told me he was coming out with this movie and it was going to make 20 million, period, I would be like, no, it's not. And then its opening weekend, that's amazing. And listen, the movies like this, we can all unite in movies like this because everybody that watches preview, as long as you're not a cut critic, you understand that this is just a movie that's designed to be fun. It's not designed to be taken too seriously.
When they're making it, they're going over the top on purpose.
If you go in this movie complaining about anything, as far as how much more serious it could be taken or better it was written or whatever, then you obviously have no life. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, like allow for these movies to exist. Like nobody's telling you if you don't want to go see a movie about a world where Santa Claus is real and he decides that he has to save this house from getting robbed and he's got to save Christmas and be violent doing it. If you don't want to go see that movie, don't go see that movie.
Yeah. Go watch the Dutch Girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
have fun
don't
with
hate
it.
on it though.
Yeah. So, and like you said, though, the majority of the reviews I think have been positive. The majority of the feedback's been positive, and it's been getting a good audience. I'm excited to see it. I never would have imagined prior to this. First of all, I only heard about this movie like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, did you see a trailer or did I tell you about it?
I think I saw the trailer and then you and I talked about it right after that. And
Uh,
Derpy just said,
Dude, oh my God. I'm just reading this.
yeah,
I didn't know about this, Derby. He's saying they're considering remaking Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with Drew Barrymore and Cameron Diaz.
son, Drew Barrymore and Cameron Diaz still act.
Cameron Diaz is doing a movie with Jamie Foxx. Apparently, he talked her back into getting back into like acting, and now she's doing a few movies. And
Yeah.
her and Drew Barry. Yeah, I did too. She kind of said she was like she kind of vocally said, "I'm quitting acting because I want to be family and all that stuff." But I guess she's back in. But
She made tons of money back in the day. I mean, she was It Girl. She was the It Girl when you and I were in our 20s.
oh man, I remember when Mask came out. I just couldn't even
Oh,
take
she
my
was
eyes
gorgeous
off
in
of
that movie. Yeah.
her. Just unbelievable. And even all the in Charlie's Angels. I mean, again, I love the first movie as a whole. I think the movie's good, but man, I remember just watching that movie, all those close-up shots of her ass and stuff, just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Um,
And that movie was, I mean, that was basically her vehicle. The Lucy Liu and Drew Barrymore, of course, has been a star since the 80s, since she was in E.T., but she was the biggest of the three, no doubt, at that time.
oh yeah, sure. Now a lot of people don't know this, but Drew Barrymore's production company is partially what helped get that movie launched. So that was actually Drew Barrymore's first like
Facts.
entrance into production. But yeah, as far as they were co-stars, she was the star. Like Lucy
Yeah.
Liu and Drew Barrymore were definitely the side, and she was the main. But I do think that movie works. Everything about like when they're throwing those terrible muffins that one of them made, and they're like, oh, and she throws that at the door and sticks in there. Bill
Yeah.
Murray opens it up and he's like, careful with that. Fighting muffins? Like, a friend of mine took a fighting muffin to the chest. He said they sent him home in 5 plastic bags.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun movie. It was the second one was a little bit disappointing, but that's the way it goes, man.
The second one was bad. I think really bad. But, but I don't like the same thing. McGee is that director. Did you see The Babysitter on Netflix? The first one?
Did you say McGee? That's all you gotta say is McGee, man. Everybody knows McGee.
Well, I thought The Babysitter was the first one was good. He did that.
Really?
And then the second one comes out, and it literally was Charlie's Angels and Angels 2 all over again.
Didn't
It's like
McGee also do Ultraviolet?
maybe I'd have to look. I actually own that on DVD because I bought it as a part of a like 4 DVD set for like $3.
Yo, Mila looked great in that movie.
Oh,
That might be the best she ever looked in a movie.
she always looks good to me, dog. And a lot of people don't know this about her, but there's a side project that Maynard James Keenan does. The singer for Tool, he has his own band called Pussifer, and she's a part of that band technically, and occasionally she tours with them. But she's on some of the albums singing.
I will say, Fifth Element does not hold up. I loved the hell of that movie growing up, but when we watched it recently, I was like, wow, this movie is not as good as I remember.
I tell you what doesn't hold up mainly for me in that movie is the rubber creature costumes.
Oh yeah,
They're all like,
yeah,
I mean, it looks like I'm watching like Sesame Street or something.
yeah.
Now Chris Tucker's hilarious. Bruce Corbin Dallas is a cool character. But I think the visual stuff when they're like flying around in the flying cars and everything like that still looks cool. But the you're right. Whatever niche that was going for in that time was a trendy thing. It's not something that lasts.
No. Well, speaking of ahead of its time, not behind its time, literally getting flashed forward, the new Flash has been pushed forward.
Dude, I can't believe this.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just afraid he's going to go to prison before he does something even really screwed up. They're like, well, let's just get this movie out there. Let's get it over with.
So do you think first off, you've seen the reviews, right?
No, I
Oh,
haven't.
not seen the reviews, but reactions, excuse me.
Reactions, yeah, yeah, no.
Um, dude, people are saying the best thing DC's put out.
Okay, okay. Every time DC comes out with a movie, the initial reactions are good. And every time the movie sucks. This is a never-ending cycle with DC movies.
So, did you like it?
Did I like it?
Like, did you see it?
No, I didn't like it.
So you didn't watch the second one?
The practical effects took me out of the movie. The practical effects weren't good, especially the leper. That whole scene where the kid's afraid of the leper, and
You didn't like that?
no, he looks horrible. Those are the worst looking, most fake practical effects I've seen in a long time, man.
I don't know. I guess I didn't feel that way about it.
Peter Alexander, ever since Batman 1989. You're right. You're right, Peter. Every DC movie since then. Oh, the reviews are great. Zack Snyder's brought back superhero movies. Oh, actually, you know what, Peter?
Batman 1989 is in this movie.
The Christopher Nolan Batman movies were. Oh, Michael Keaton's gonna be in. I thought he was gonna be in Batgirl, and that got canned.
They added him to Batgirl after he was already in this one. This one he's been announced for like since
Okay, that's right.
this
That's
movie
right.
got
A lot of
announced.
people think they're doing the Flashpoint Batman.
Yeah, that's the idea. But also, Batfleck is in this one, and we know Peter loves Batfleck.
Derpy just said, "I will see this Flash movie just to see if it's Flashpoint."
Yeah, I think that they're going to pull from Flashpoint. I don't think they're going to directly do the story because they never do.
Flashpoint was fun, but the thing that sucked about that story and that sucks with DC in general. Okay, so to kind of take it to a side. So, have you ever read the Batman White Knight continuity?
Look at this. He says Batfleck.
So, Batman White Knight is an alternate continuity of Batman stories that are probably the best Batman stories ever told. And because the guy gets to have a lot of fun with the world because it's set in a alternate universe, and so he can have a lot of fun. It's very similar to a current universe. The whole premise is in the original Batman White Knight is that Joker gets cured, and Jack Napier is the hero of the story. Now, I don't want to spoil it too much, Bob. I know you're a huge Batman fan. I highly suggest picking up all 3 trade paperbacks. They're among some of the best Batman stories ever told.
Okay, I would, dude. Honestly, I've been looking for a new Batman thick story to read, and that'd be great.
So the issue I have with Flashpoint, to kind of come back running full circle, is that Flashpoint, we all knew that it was going to end resetting the DC universe. And so it's kind of hard to get into stories when you know that there's not going to be any major repercussions, And a lot of people love Flashpoint. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I can't say it's an all-time great story because of that.
Yeah,
and honestly, that might be what they do with this movie, since their whole universe is having to change. They may just usually use this movie as a universal reset, which I don't know how I feel about that.
I think they're definitely doing that, man. I think exactly what they're doing is using it as a reset. I don't think that I think that they would have had Ezra Miller be the Flash regardless before all the stuff started going down with him. Like, I think they were trying to do a Flash movie with him regardless. But I think
worst Flash ever, by the way.
Huh?
Worst Flash ever, Ezra Miller Flash.
I think that's something that we kind of disagree on as well. I liked him.
Oh,
should I put up
this Samurai Showdown? All right, guys. Look at that graphic that Bobo did.
That's right. We'll incorporate that.
Man, if you only
I thought he was a comical, the funny, more comical Flash that I'd always read, and I thought that translated through him on screen.
Oh man, he's so awkward. He's so awkward, and the humor's bad too. I mean, that was a lot of that was Josh Whedon, the whole falling on Wonder Woman's ass and all that stuff. None of it was good. And why can my man not run?
Yeah,
I have never seen anybody run worse in a movie. And this superhero is supposed to be all about running.
Yeah, what's like?
Yeah, he looks like he always be tripping.
Why are you doing a freestyle stroke, dog? Why are you freestyling swimming?
Yeah. Like, what do you think you're skating? What are you doing?
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely no. That's what he does. He throws him out like that.
I've never really gotten a fight. All I do is push people and run away. It's like, oh my god, you're so lame. You're the lamest superhero. My theory is they want him to be the window of the viewer. And once again, a lot of times with these comic book movies, the characters that are windows of the viewer are the nerdiest, most awkward people. It's like, that's what you think about your audience? You think we're all like that? And so that annoys me. Right?
Well, I didn't if they take the direction in this new Flash movie, if he's like that the whole time, that's going to bug me. I like the idea that is all new to him. So like when he's one of the things I did like from the Whedon cut is when he's like sitting in the Batmobile for 1 second, he just looks around and then he just jolts out. Like he's just kind of going from place to place. I kind of like the idea that he's like, I can't contain it. It's new for me. I like all this. But after the fight that they have with Steppenwolf in that whole like little cylinder factory thing, it's the first big fight where they're on the bridges and all that. After that, he should have toned it down because he got hurt.
Listen, let me tell you something. When I watched that fight, all I can think of at the end of that fight is like, all of you are worthless without Superman. You all suck without Superman.
Isn't that the whole point of Isn't that the whole plot of the movie?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was part of the problem with Justice League when it was being written in the 70s. That's why, like, every Justice League villain, you had to have Superman. You had to have the villain had kryptonite or something to take Superman out of the equation. But it's like at the end of the movie, I expected Superman to turn around and be like, "What do I even need all of you for? Just stop. Just go home and retire, Bruce. You're a billionaire." Okay?
That would be funny.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious.
I don't need you, man. I got the technology. I've got X-ray vision. Okay, I don't need you. Just go home and get married and
but he's naive. That's the whole thing. He's naive, and Bruce levels him out. Bruce is like, "Stop being so naive, Clark." Yeah. Lex does not have a good bone in his body.
You know why I can be naive, Bruce? Is because I can't die. I just died and I came back to life. I'm like Jesus, man.
He's like a baby being reborn. He's like, look, the whole point of that.
Comments on this, by the way, if you want to pull some of these up.
Yeah. So first off, he says, "Screw the Snyderverse and give that to James Gunn DCU now." Which, look, I'm about that. I want to see where he takes it. I'm not confident that he's just going to be a savior, but I love James Gunn. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't be confident that anybody can just come in and just like turn this around. I have to see what starts going down with their movies. You know what I mean?
Listen, the thing that separates Marvel under Kevin Feige's direction is he is the unifying vision, right? To make an analogy, and this is hit or miss because this product has not always been great, especially under this leadership, but Vince McMahon with WWE, everything runs through his vision. So it's always got this unified vision, right, under him. And that's what
all the sexual harassment goes through him.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, you're not famous unless you get Me Too these days, okay?
Yeah. That was true.
Me Too means you've got a nice bank account. Not saying that you people are using you for your bank account, but usually that becomes part and parcel with the equation. But so you got the unified vision. That's what Kevin Feige provided them. That's been the problem with Kathleen Kennedy. Even though she's supposed to play the unifier on Star Wars, she let all the creators take creative control, and they weren't unified in what they wanted the story to be, and that created incoherent mess. And that's been the problem with DC, combined with the fact that the people that are making the decisions are marketing and business people without any sort of creative brain, right?
Yeah. And no people that have love for these characters either. Not like Feige does. Feige has the love.
Just even being able to understand storytelling, or having people under you that understand storytelling, that make decisions based on storytelling for the product, for the purposes of giving a good product so you can continue to make money down the road. Right? They just didn't have anybody like that. They were just people that were like, that thought, okay, like, listen, what's a trend? Okay, this is a trend.
Right.
Making money. So we can use that and make money. Let's go ahead and throw that out there. And honestly, at the end of the day, they were probably just doing that for their bonuses.
Yeah, no, you're right. They don't see it as art and what's going to last. They see it as what they're making and then what their little personal empire has become.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't know if you heard this about Bob Chapek and Bob Iger though recently with Bob Iger coming back in. One of the things that Bob Iger immediately did was shut down production on like a lot of projects.
Yeah.
So first off, one of the things that they had said,
Quality over quantity, I believe, is what I heard it reported as.
yeah, and what Feige has sort of released, and a lot of people are saying about Kevin Feige is that what happened under Chapek's regime, basically the bad parts of this last phase of what we saw with all this oversaturation, especially on Disney Plus, was Chapek basically being like, what characters can we greenlight and what can we do? Let's do it now. And basically Feige not being able to say no to that and being stretched like, so now they're saying we're going to be able to reel Kevin back in and he's going to be able to focus on the handful of projects rather than the bucket load of projects. And
Yeah.
that's the way it needs to be, dude. So hopefully this is a bad phase at the office and they're going to get past this because Kevin does know what's up.
Law of diminishing returns is a very real thing in movies or anything that you consume, right? Take your favorite dessert, then order 10 portions of that dessert. And by the time you get done with portion number 3, you're done with that dessert. You don't ever want to see it again, right?
Right. Yes.
So, yeah, you want quality over quantity. It's okay if we only get 3 Marvel projects a year as long as they're damn good and they keep us wanting more. That's all we need.
And anticipation, there's something with anticipation. Miss it. Have long for it. Feel that feeling of like, man, I need a Batman movie, but I don't need a Batman movie right now because we just had them all the time.
And listen, if you're going to create projects, like if you're saying, hey, listen, we can use streaming to reach other audiences that we're not reaching, you need to make sure that those projects are done well and really differentiate from your current project so it feels like something different. For example, if it's adult content, it really needs to be hardcore adult content.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Peacemaker is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Dude. They really did a good job with that. And what they also did with Peacemaker is they didn't try to play outside of the sandbox that they had. They didn't try to turn this into a AAA budget film. It's like, no, this is a TV show with a TV budget. So let's film it that way and treat the script that way. And so they wrote it about Peacemaker, kind of what he does as a person rather than him joining the Suicide Squad. And it worked that way. And it will continue to last because there's nothing to diminish in that. There's not stupid CG background LED screens to diminish. Half the time they're in a trailer park.
Yeah, right.
So I'm happy about that. I just wanted to get off on that side note about that, which kind of leads us to one of the other things we're going to talk about before the show's over is you know what? Daredevil.
Yeah. By the way, we didn't really do that showdown properly, but we all know I bodied Bobo, so that's okay.
Wait, what did you just say?
Yeah, I bodied you on that showdown, man. I think comments are with me on that showdown. As we know, the Flash sucks balls.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You did win. You did win that showdown.
All right.
Wait, Derby says still won't see Black Adam.
Nobody else did either, Derpy, so you don't have to worry about that. That's another headline that we forgot. That movie has officially lost money.
Man, $100 million just in its box office run, which these days a box office run is not long. And they couldn't even make their budget back, dude.
You know what this means?
No sequel.
The Rock Johnson's going to be putting back on those wrestling tights. WrestleMania's right around the corner. He's got his cousin Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, is a world champion. It's in SoFi. It's in LA. He needs a career boost. Time to wrestle one more time.
Hey,
yeah.
Do you know how crazy wrestling would go if Dwayne The Rock came in and got back in there?
Yeah, and he'll do it. They've been Roman Reigns is actually not technically his cousin, but kind of like his cousin, and he's the biggest star in wrestling. He's great, actually. If you watch anything with wrestling, watch.
Well, and he's actually had like a true real life battle, you know. So that's like cool that he's like gone down and come back from health and all that. And
yeah. So, but they've been talking about, Roman's has always wanted to kind of just do a match and lay down for his cousin and let him take the victory. And they've always talked about potentially doing it at SoFi Stadium in LA. Problem is, of course, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's a huge movie star. He gets hurt in a wrestling ring. That prevents a lot of people from feeding their families on a film set. He is responsible for a lot of jobs on film sets. And if he gets hurt and production gets delayed, those people that work hourly don't get paid, right? So he's got a lot of responsibility. But he probably ain't going to be getting a lot of projects with his Black Adam bomb, son. So he might have to do something to kind of
Will this
excite
force
people's interest.
will this force him to do Fast and Furious 10?
Hey, man,
Because he said he wasn't going to do it.
if anything's going to force him to do Fast and Furious 10, it's family.
It's always going to be
It's always
family.
family.
Well, because he said he didn't want to work with Vin anymore because of the way he's never on time and he shows up late. But if he needs to regain some on top status,
I can't believe Fast and Furious keeps making money.
I honestly, I have to.
10 of these movies, Bobo.
No,
10.
no, I have to be honest. I was surprised that when they made the 7th one that they didn't just stop after that because Paul died. It's like, okay, it makes sense. He died. Let's just call it quits.
Yeah. Also,
No, we're just getting started. You know,
Yeah.
the only reason that movie was bad is because he died, though. Like I'm telling you, 4, 5, and 6, those are the ones that I'll brag about. Those are actually fun movies. And the first one's still good. 4, 5, and 6 is a solid trilogy.
First one's good. It's a racing movie, man. It was like, I don't want to say it's never been done before because it has, but it was definitely a fresh take on that genre. And it was like, yo, man, I remember getting that. So we watched that, right? I used to work at this place called, or we both used to work at this place called Blue Goose, but just separately from each other. And I remember getting off work and there was a studio movie grill right next to us. Went and got wasted at a studio movie grill and watched that movie. And everybody poured to that studio movie grill, getting their little sedans, start revving the engines.
Oh,
minivans, start revving the engines, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
look,
man, that movie was a ton of fun.
no, it was, and it was also a cultural boom at the time, so that's part of it. But I'm telling you, I will to my dying day. 2 is terrible. I don't care about 3. 4, 5, and 6 are actually a planned, thought out, cohesive, wrapped up trilogy within itself. They tried to take it off with 7.
Ocean's 11 and Cars.
But I'm telling you, 4, 5, and 6 are very entertaining movies, dude. Directed well, got some cool shit. I promise you, well made. Now, are they ridiculous and over the top? They are. But,
I think 5 was okay.
4 is my favorite.
I saw 6 because I think that's when Rock comes in at 6, right?
No, he comes in 5.
Okay, 5 was the one that I watched because Rock came in, and you know, I was a huge smell what your Rock is cooking homie. And yeah, I didn't like the movie.
But
4 I thought was okay, I think.
4 was good because it was the revenge. Like for me, 4, 5, and 6 I like, but that's okay. You know, we don't agree on everything. That's part of our whole thing. But Derpy says he liked 9, though, even how ridiculous it was. Look, I have to disagree with you on that one, Derpy. I couldn't handle how ridiculous it was. It was so ridiculous that I couldn't take the movie seriously. I just couldn't.
I remember talking about 9. Like, yo, man, we got to go into space. I'm like, are you kidding me?
They did.
Space. I know.
And it was so stupid. Look, when you saw 9, it made part 8 with them having a submarine coming out of the water look believable compared to once you saw 9.
You know, people watch Bollywood or Tollywood action movies, and despite the fact that IIT is one of the best engineering schools in the entire world, outside of maybe the one in China, some of the physics in those movies be kind of ridiculous. And I used to have friends of mine that would make fun of those movies when they watched them with us. And then I watched Fast and the Furious movies. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's the same thing. This guy swung a car from a cliff onto another cliff.
Especially, yeah, that's in part 9. That's at the beginning of the movie too. And I remember in the theater being like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah.
No, look, certain things you can enjoy them because of the way they were made and the way that they're self-aware. But when it becomes so self-aware to be so ridiculous in a world that's supposed to be real, that's the thing. These Fast and Furious movies are still trying to tell you this is a real world where they got to worry about taxes and money and my kids and all this. Oh, but we're also flying cars on cables and into space. Like, no, you have to choose one or the other. It either has to be a fantasy fiction thing or real. But they're trying to tap into both with these, and I hate that.
Yo, if you liked the Fast and Furious movies, guys, you want to watch a Bollywood version that did it first, Doom, D-H-O, I think it's O-O-M, maybe D-H-O-M, 2. Let me tell you about the beginning of this movie, okay? Abhishek Bachchan, son of the famous Amitabh Bachchan. He's the lead actor. There's a drug deal going down on a pier, okay, like a little wooden pier, like you see at a lake, and he's spying on them. But he's spying on them from underwater, and he comes out from underwater on a jet ski. So apparently somehow he submerged this jet ski underwater for 5 minutes and listens to talk. Comes out from underwater, lands on the pier completely dry, like a G. Like a G, guys. I mean, come on.
Did you ever see the Don't Mess with the Zohan?
Oh, well, yeah, yeah,
It was basically making fun of all that kind of stuff because there's this one part where he's in the water swimming, but he's swimming, his whole
yeah.
body is moving like a dolphin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's when he started to lose his fastball, though.
Who, Sandler?
Yeah.
That was his last good Sandler movie before he started doing kid stuff, and then crappy stuff like Grown Ups and all that. To me, so Zohan was his last good one.
Yeah.
Um, but look, going back to our entire thing that we're talking about here, I'm I'm over Fast and the Furious. I don't need a number 10. I don't need any of that to happen. Rock with Black Adam. I'm hoping that they utilize this whole Superman thing, but I don't see him being in his own solo movie ever after this. Like, I
No, we
think he
may
might show up in something.
this may be the end of Rock as a box office draw, but it's okay. He did all right for himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's still got more money than the law will allow. So
He's
yeah,
got a production company, $7 production company. He's trying to do stuff online. He's been on that curve for a while, so he'll
he's
be
an
all right.
entrepreneur, not just a movie star.
Yeah, yeah, he'll be all right. He'll be all right.
And like you said, he's still got wrestling.
Yeah, and great guy too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing. He does have a great reputation in Hollywood for being a good dude, and that's something that matters. That goes a long way.
Mhm.
Look, hey, let's save the Daredevil talk for next time because that's still a long ways for coming out. So it's not like that we got to just get on that.
We can touch on it real quick, and we can add more thoughts when more news comes out. But apparently, they want Daredevil. There's a rumor that Daredevil is going to be along the tones of Deadpool.
I
Which,
don't
if any of you
understand
read
that.
that story, Born Again, you know that is not how the comic tone is. It's more along the lines of Netflix, but just even more somber and depressing and hardcore. So I can't believe this rumor is real. I don't have faith in this rumor. So we'll
Yeah,
try to dig more into this and talk about it next time because this is an interesting one.
yeah, I don't think it's any real either. I think that after what they did with She-Hulk and understanding the bad reception that got, the way the Thor: Love and Thunder got bad reception, they'd have to be out of their mind to
Well,
do
here's
that
the problem
with
with
the
She-Hulk.
character of
Go
Daredevil.
online and look at the reactions from critics online. And this is one of the things that's a problem with
I
reviews.
think that
Why
they're
I want to do this channel, right? Is because reviews have become muddled with politics, PC, and
I
people.
think they're afraid to say they don't like it. Yes,
Yeah,
I think so.
they got to jump on trends, right? I can't say I don't like She-Hulk. It's about female empowerment. It can be about female empowerment and suck. You can like the messaging and still hate the show. It's okay, right?
Of
Uh,
course. We talk about supporting female empowerment on this show all the time. We just don't
She-Hulk
like
was
it when it's
one of my favorite characters of all time. Still is. That show was garbage. It was trash. It was real trash, right?
what show? I didn't hear you.
That's one of the worst. That last episode is one of the worst TV shows of all time.
Oh, She-Hulk.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, dude. No, it was so bad. But look, everybody, while the critics might be kind of going back to that, the critics treating Avatar nicely in the beginning, while the critics are afraid to talk bad about it, all the people that I watch on YouTube and the people that I pay attention to hate it.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
still
I'm
have
not getting
some good critics out there. The YouTube critics, yeah, you got you guys like Geeks and Gamers that are also on the other side of the coin, right? But you got guys like Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman. Those are G's. Shout outs to you guys. Hopefully, we work with you.
Oh hell yeah,
You know?
yeah. Those guys will tell you exactly how they feel about it. They're not going to sit here and patronize the filmmakers, whatever. Especially Johns. Johns is not worried about pissing off anyone. Chris Stuckman's taking it back a little bit because he wants to work in the industry, and I've kind of done the same thing a little. But no, Johns.
You got me to keep it a buck, people.
That's just why I love it, So, like, I love you, Kevin Smith.
I do not love you, Kevin Smith.
Well, hey, but yeah, we'll touch on that Daredevil stuff the next time. Oh yeah, I think. Look, it looks like Kevin Smith is sort of taking a career trajectory anyway, so you may have gotten your wish.
What's he gonna do? The Fat Man podcast forever for the rest of his life?
I think he's
just guys getting paid for their opinions. Kevin Smith definitely gets paid for his opinion.
He does. No, I think he's leaning over into starting like a production company and just having films made and not necessarily helming them.
Yeah. Hopefully he stays away from all aspects of them.
Well, just as long as he starts writing some more He-Man, right?
Peter Alexander, She-Hulk was worse than trash. Please don't recycle.
Yes, that's a great line.
You got to know what your bins are for. Recycle is for recycle. Trash is for trash.
Yes.
Straight to the dumpster. Man.
Yes, straight to.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, the classic fart joke. Guys, I've gotten him to stop doing that as much. Hopefully, we can get it together.
Oh yeah.
All out.
I love my fart noises. So, well, hey, tell us where everybody can find us up, man.
Yeah. So first of all, we thank you guys for commenting. Peter, Derpy, Worley, you're supposed to be on these podcasts with us, but for you to come in and comment, it's great. We really appreciate it. Hopefully we get more. These conversations are a lot more fun with you guys in them. You're a big part of
Definitely. So much fun.
Hopefully we continue to grow this community so you guys can have some people to talk to. It'd be great if while we're chatting on screen, you guys are chatting through the comments and having your own conversations. That's what makes community. That's what makes us fun. That's what we're trying to go after. And so if you want to help us do that, look at the banner below, and these are the different avenues you can help us with that. First of all, at Shogun of Cinema on both Instagram and Twitter. Follow us. We'll be posting pics and images, letting you know when we got stuff coming up on the channel. Also, just kind of fun stuff in general. Patreon, we still got to get that rolling a little bit. We're going to get on that, patreon.com/BrassReel. As of right now, the tier is only $3. That's just to help us get some funds, to help get the channel quality up for you and your viewing enjoyment. Of course, you can catch us on Facebook.com/BrassReel. If the metaverse actually ends up happening, maybe we'll meet you in the metaverse. It probably could happen. Facebook's probably going to go out of business. But, hey, you can buy that stock. It's real low right now.
That's the reality of the world we live in today.
Yeah. And, of course, hey, once again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. I'm sure you guys have. Thank you for hit that bell notification. It's another way to keep getting notified whenever we're going to have a video drop. And finally, last but not least, if life gives you lemons,
make some hot, fresh popcorns. Oh, yeah. Adios.